The game changer in all this is AI. And AI is not something that everyone understands fully because it is complicated, but let me try. I'll make an attempt today to simplify, because at the end of the day, AI should be simple and AI should serve a purpose. AI is so important that Gartner predicts that by 2021, 1 in 6 customer service interactions will be responded to by AI. At this conference, you will see examples of how Coveo can be deployed within bots, as an example, and how we can apply relevance, the same kind of relevance mechanisms. The idea essentially is to glean preferences and intent using artificial intelligence and machine learning, and obviously that requires data. What AI is, fundamentally, it's the confluence of a number of things. Why did AI suddenly appear is because, first of all, distributed computing, cloud computing, big data analytics, and machine learning. Without any of those components, AI wouldn't be physically possible or wouldn't be practical. What AI provides fundamentally is more accurate answers. AI provides more personalized experiences, better results, and even triggers action, obviously. And to give you some examples, it's already part of your daily lives. It's about human augmentation. AI is, as I mentioned before, what personalizes your Amazon experience and makes sure you buy more on Amazon. AI is what corrects the words on your keyboards. 5 years ago, your keyboard on your mobile device could only suggest words in 40 languages. There are 2,000 spoken languages on the planet, and now the technology has changed entirely so that, in fact, your mobile keyboard, thanks to AI and the cloud, figures out, in fact, every language automatically. It's no longer programmatic. AI, obviously, as we all know, suggests the best routes. Ultimately, AI will drive the car. And that's why it is so important. The fundamental transformation, why is that relevant to what we do, is that in the previous world, in the world of segmentation, I would say, you had to define the rules. You had to define the segmentation rules and then program, essentially, the experience, the consumer or the information or the digital experience. In the world of AI, you just have to feed AI with a bunch of data and a bunch of examples, and it figures out the rules. You're no longer programming the rules. AI basically figures out the rules. It finds the rules that basically optimize the results and the outcomes. And it has infinite abilities, in fact. AI has proven to be far more efficient than the whole accumulated science in radiology. As an example, found symptoms within 24 hours by just feeding 1 million images that radiologists didn't know about symptoms. AI can predict, as I said, and more importantly in our world, AI can personalize. The reality is that AI thrives on data. The irony in all this is that AI needs data, and it needs more data, and the more data you give it, the better it gets. And we're no short of data. We're in a world right now where there's 1 billion connected machines, and I suspect a lot of those are Dell, and that's a good thing. And there are 3 billion connected people and growing very quickly. And as far as connected objects, I was at the Gartner conference 3 years ago. They said by the end of the decade there will be 15 billion connected objects. Last year they said 25. 2 years ago they said 25. Last year they said 50 billion, and they're now saying there will be more than 100 billion connected devices by the end of the decade. So think about that for a second. That all feeds, obviously, a lot of data, and that data is becoming more and more dynamic. We see cars on the right-hand side here that collect data, and so that enables that data, the sum total of that data, is goodness from an AI perspective. I'm not suggesting there are no downsides, but from an AI perspective, that's absolute goodness. The more I have data, the better I am. Within the enterprise, when we want to realize mass personalization, there's a bit of a problem. Data is siloed, and data is secure. And so for us, as a search vendor initially, because people think we're a search vendor, and we still are a search vendor, but fundamentally for us, the idea of search is basically the fundamental ability to reach and consolidate data in a unified index. And so in my example earlier, if I want to influence e-commerce with customer service data or in-product information or manufacturing information, I need to first reach that data, and that is the role of the unified index. So that unified index, in fact, serves as a source of content from silos to create what we call a relevance platforms. For years, Coveo has had the ability to bring content into context. Many of you have implemented Coveo in the context of customer service, agents, where we understand a case, as an example, and we can pull content from anywhere and make it case relevant. And we do the same thing on self-service, and that's goodness. And we've generated a ton of value doing that, mainly around call deflection, average call handling time, first call resolution, things of that nature. We've done it on websites, etc. The beauty now is we can add intent to the picture. So one of the areas where I praise our R&D team so much for their continued innovation is that 5 years ago they started thinking about the idea of collecting user interactions and collecting behavioral data. Same as what Jeff Bezos said maybe 19 years ago, the more I understand the customer journeys and the user journeys and the employee journeys from the original intent all the way to the final outcome, and the more I store that data, the more I can feed AI, in fact, and infer intent. Intent, in fact, can be derived from the sum total of interactions. So if you think about Coveo, it's evolved much more as a platform, as a unified relevance platform that has essentially two adjacent clouds. One of them is a unified index, and we're pretty damn good at that. One of them is a unified interactions cloud that's behind the scenes and starts looking at what people actually do. And then the other area is that we have the ability to contextualize information within various channels. Laurent will show you later on Coveo within multiple types of UIs and multiple interaction points. We're becoming almost agnostic, basically, to the digital venue that we live in. And those can be the multiple channels, websites, communities, CRM, in-product, etc. And basically integrated into the conversational interfaces, whether it's plain queries, recommendations, and ultimately chatbots, and etc. The beauty now with AI is that the sum total of those unified interactions offers us an opportunity, in fact, as I mentioned before, to feed machine learning, and that in turn is what feeds our recommendations engine. And that, my friend, is extremely powerful. We actually believe that real-time personalization and machine learning is not only going to be a revolution in technology, it's going to revolutionize business. In fact, I will go as far as saying that there will be in the future businesses who are relevant because they adopt technology to enable mass personalization, and there will be the businesses that will become irrelevant because they won't be able to compete against the former.